be there. And we all, I mean, it was past a vendor, and we see them there today, and they come back and they're not there because they're sick, they're not there, whatever. And they're like, where is so and so? She just started planting. We don't have to. And again, I mean, if you see them all in there, sitting there, you next thing dressed up, you know, in nice air, go to church. So this is once a year. They dress up, they come to my restaurant, and we really take them everything complimentary, no charge, you know. So those are where I see my passion really.
Okay. Well, that's definitely a good initiative, especially to give back to the vendors. Because as you said, they are definitely the backbone, because if we don't take care of our vendors, how are we going to get the supplies for the restaurants, for the hotels? How are you going to get it? So Chef Orlando, so now that we're coming to a close on this, so what is the future plans for you, especially your restaurant, and the wider push for Caribbean cuisine?
Well, let's just say, okay, as a chef, people know my restaurant. We're a very small independent restaurant. We have no menu, so every day we cook. Or every day I go to the market, I find an ingredient, and I produce a 5-course tasting menu. There's some plans as an individual, as a native of St. Lucia now. They give me a passport. I would like to see more things done in St. Lucia. We have built our economy and tourism, which is a little concerning to me, because it means we rely on somebody else to feed us. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, yes, we're tourism, but we shouldn't be so much demand. So we got to find ways to be more agricultural, to other areas that we don't rely so much on persons to come to us. We can be more self-efficient. I also think one of my biggest passions is that I live in Soufrière. We have a sulfur spring, and we need to get people more mindful of the value of the sulfur spring. And what I mean by that, you can have a location called the sulfur springs, but you have no accessibility, disability in sulfur spring. That's my private little passion. I know they're working on it, but it's taking too long. You cannot say you come to rejuvenate, and yet people who need to rejuvenate cannot access it. There's no access to this down the steps, there's no access to the pond. So how do you then tell somebody to come and rejuvenate who definitely needs it and you can't access it? So this is my local battleship I'm fighting out. And I think that comes down to sometimes people on commitments, on committees. I don't know if you ever noticed the building by Computer World, the building which is actually public health building. You have not accessibility to go upstairs if you're in a wheelchair. There's no accessibility. So you need people on your committees who can see all aspects of them in, and because any one of us could be a disability of any sort. Disability doesn't count to people who are born or challenged. Anyone could trip and fall, and a situation which limits accessibility. So those are some of my personal challenges. As a business owner, I'm so happy to see more restaurants in Soufrière. People might say, oh, Chef Orlando, they're challenging you. No, my name's Orlando, I don't have to worry about my name. What I have to worry about is how do we, as a community, become better accessibility for people to come in? How do we get more business down there? How do we become more quality business as well? You see? And it's not about me as Chef Orlando. I live in the community so that we as Soufrians taking more responsibility. Remember, when you are around the world, doesn't matter where you are in the world, as soon as you see St. Lucia, you see our pitons. That is Soufrière. So really, we're the face, that Soufrière town is the face of St. Lucia. And so I would like to think, while people may recognize Orlando as a godfather, or last year the Restaurant of the World Culinary Awards, which is in Dubai, all these awards have no value if we're not unified in our collective thoughts. And we need to look at that in a business way. So hopefully, from the position with your support, we can move to Soufrière, move St. Lucia in a direction. And this last note, coming to independence. I use the word share the love a lot. Share the love. Share the love is about we the people. It's not physical, it's about good spirits, it's about good energy. How do I respect you to respect me? You understand? Share the love is a time, especially the global world is going what it's going through, the challenges right now, all the Americans and going on through challenge. We don't have to wait for a situation before we react. We need to be proactive. So if we look at people having tariffs around the world, what are we going to do solution? Because if the planes don't fly, because the gas is too expensive, if people, the Caribbean, come to the Caribbean is a luxury. First thing people cut back on is luxuries, if they can't afford to spend something. So if less people come to St. Lucia or the Caribbean because they can't afford to buy bread or egg or whatever, what do that's an expense to us. So St. Lucia needs to be more be prepared to share the love amongst each other. Our young youth need to look at each other and know the word economic doesn't mean money, it means self-worth. Who are you economically? Are you doing yourself economic justice? So, and the last one, share the love. It means St. Lucia, STL, share the love. Just in case you wonder what it means. So every time you hear me say share the love, what I'm saying actually is St. Lucia, STL.
Share the love.
So on that note, I thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, Chef Orlando, thank you so much again for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I want to say a big shout out to my staff, because sometimes people see Chef Orlando, it's not about me. My name is Orlando, but the restaurant is called Orlando's, and we are the team of Orlando's. So a big shout out to my restaurant staff, and big shout out to my dear ladies, or Claudia Sharman, because she'll don't let me forget it. But of course, I want to thank the public as well for supporting Orlando's over the last 12 years. I look forward to your continued support, and of course, keep sharing the love with respect.
Right. All right, guys. So don't forget as well to please also take a look and check out Chef Orlando's in Soufrière. Is there some specific space where we can actually find the restaurant?
You can find. I like to call Orlando the best kept secret. People need to know where to find me, but of course you go on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads and Blue Sky. I've found all these things now, you know what I'm saying? So you can definitely find Orlando's there. And sometimes you see my door closed, knock, we'll let you in.
All right. So all information on Chef Orlando's will be posted here on screen, so make sure you do check it out. And also, if you have time, definitely make a trip to Soufrière, check out Chef Orlando's. And thank you so much again for tuning in for this episode of St. Lucian Icons. And when we show you next week, and do come back next week, we'll be meeting with another guest to learn more about their story and how they became a Lucian Icons. Thank you so much. I'm Josiah Bissett. We'll see you next time. Right. Alright. Okay, so when you're ready, you can actually just get out of the door, yeah. So when you're ready. Okay. Right. Okay.
Okay, so I want to say thank you so much for the opportunity to share the love. I know we've known each other for about 20 years or more, 25 years now.
Speak for yourself, I'm not that old.
But the idea though, this is Calabash. I think, it's a unique hotel, a boutique hotel here in Marisol. And of course, our general manager, a good friend. And I thank you for the opportunity to, use the place.
Always a pleasure to have you with us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Good luck with the work.
Yeah, thanks
Okay.
so much.
Share love. And Welcome everybody to another episode of St. Lucia Icons, in which we'll be learning about iconic individuals who have made their way up in this beautiful island of ours. Today, we are located in the luxurious Calabash Beach Resort, and we will be talking to our very special guest, which actually fits the theme of where we are located today. He is known as the godfather of the kitchen, Chef Orlando Sacher. But before we get into our guest today, we're just going to be taking a quick break to learn a bit more from our sponsors. So when we get back, we'll dive into our guest, Chef Orlando. Okay, so welcome everybody back to another episode of St. Lucia Icons. Here we will be learning about iconic individuals who made their way up through this. Hold on, do it again.
Voice though.
Thank you. Welcome back everybody to another episode of St. Lucia Icons, where we'll be talking to certain individuals or iconic individuals who have made their way up through this beautiful island of ours. Today, we are located in the luxurious Calabash Beach Resort, and the guest we are speaking with today actually fits the theme of where we are located today. So, today we are speaking with the godfather of the Caribbean kitchen, Chef Orlando Sacher. But before we get into our guest today, we're just going to be taking a short break to learn more about our. Welcome everybody back to another episode of St. Lucia Icons, where we'll be speaking with iconic individuals to learn more about how they developed their way to this beautiful island of ours. Today we are located in the luxurious Calabash Cove Beach Resort and Hotel, which is a fitting area for who we are speaking with today. Today we are speaking with our guest who is known as the godfather of the Caribbean kitchen, Chef Orlando Sacher. But before we get into our guest today, we're just going to be taking a short break while we hear from our sponsors. And when we come back, Chef Orlando. Okay. All right. Welcome back. So, Chef Orlando, it is great to have you here with us today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to share with you.
Right, not a problem. So, let's actually get started with first, who is Chef Orlando Sacher? So, let's start from the beginning. Brief description about yourself and everything about you.
Well, again, thanks for the opportunity to share with you. I'm a chef on a mission, let's put it that way. My mission started very long time ago in the UK. My parents being of Jamaican and Barbadian heritage. I am a person who loves to cook. My mom is Jamaican. When she stopped cooking, I started to cook that way. The journey that I've started from was really about where is our Caribbean cuisine? You know, as a young boy, I cooked in my mom's kitchen and I cooked with friends and took food around everywhere. Every time I went around, I'm always questioning, why can't we do Caribbean cuisine that way? You know, I used to go to nice hotels and venues, and the food was never representative of what I grew up with. So even though I worked in industry for many years, different hotels, I was always going and getting in trouble because I was always sneaking food and seasoning to the food. So, you know, the idea was that salt and pepper is not seasoning. So obviously, that was my challenge. Run through a lot of stages. I suspect St. Lucia believed that I started in St. Lucia, but actually my journey started way before St. Lucia. It just so happens that St. Lucia is where I made my home. I always give you the joke at my first girlfriend when I was in London. My first shop in London was from St. Lucia. I never asked her where is St. Lucia. It's kind of like, I knew she was my girlfriend, but I never asked her where St. Lucia was. And then my sous chef, number 2 chef, he was from St. Lucia. I never asked him where was St. Lucia. And then, you know, over the time, I ended up doing a lot of different jobs and everything else. And then, before I came to St. Lucia, my last job as a business owner was I got more opportunity to go to Singapore to promote Caribbean cuisine in Singapore. This is like 96, 98. And then I came back from Singapore, and my accountant was a St. Lucian.
Wow, wow.
So my accountant said, oh, you know, Ian Baptiste, and I said, oh, you know, I have this guest coming from St. Lucia. Could you cook for her at the local pottery? And the lady's name is Bertha Powell from Bay Gardens. So no problem. So I cooked for her. She really enjoyed what I did for her. So I said to her, you know, if you give me 2 weeks free accommodation at your hotel, I would come and train your staff in my vision of Caribbean cuisine. So that's how I ended up coming to St. Lucia for 2 weeks. We trained the staff. We had a really great experience. Nice article in the Tropical Travel at the time. Wrote a feature about it and everything else. And a couple of days before I was leaving, I ended up going to Ladera on a day trip. And I went into Ladera. Loved the location. But I went to the general manager and goes, the location is beautiful, but if I were your chef, I would do more Caribbean cuisine, I would do cooking classes, I would do a lot of that stuff. And you know, that's what I would do if I was your chef. And I left it to go back to London. I got a call 3 months later, and I'm still here 27 years later.
Wow.
So that's basically in a nutshell.
Okay.
Who I am a little bit about. But the mission has always been about, when I was a young boy, I always knew I was going to be in the Caribbean. I didn't know how, but I always knew that I would end up cooking in the Caribbean.
Wow, okay. So, in regards to like everything that you have done, especially within the kitchen, what is actually the most funniest thing that actually sparked your interest in actually saying that this is definitely what I want to do? I want to become a chef, work in the kitchen. Like, what actually was that spark that took you that?
Well, let's be serious. As a Caribbean young man, all the time, I hate the cold. I don't do cold. Oh my God. So I think what happened to me one day, I was in Birmingham, going to work, doing breakfast at 6 o'clock in the morning. I was on the bus. The bus broke down in the snow. Wow. So I had to walk to get to work on time for 6 o'clock. In my mind, I go, it's time to get the hell out of here. But of course, it took a little while before I got there. But I think ultimately I love the cold very well. And of course, the other thing I do though is that I actually love the idea of seasoning and cooking. I mean, I like it. I wasn't great on what I love to cook. I remember growing up with my siblings, and I was always trying to do new ideas, you know, with making tomato roses and stuff like that. And my siblings would say, oh, yeah, get rid of the garnish, you know. But also though, I have to give a big shout out to my mom. I remember when I had this job, an interview for this job, I said to my mom, you know, about an interview. I heard on the radio, looking for a young chef. I was 16, I think, I'm nearly 16. I said, could you come to interview me? Give me a little interview. So my mom, being of Jamaican parentage, she dressed up in her hat, she dressed in nice clothes and everything else. And you figure she's going to interview, I mean, she's taking me to interview, but she's dressed to the kill. You know, she takes me to the interview. And then I said, okay, Mom, you wait for me here. But she goes, no, I'm coming with you. She comes into the interview with me and sits next to me in the interview. And as the guy is talking to me, she's answering all the questions. So I got the job in there. So what I'm saying to some of us in my roundabout way, let's give Mom the flowers while they're still here. For the people who have their moms and dads are still here, you know, we can give them their flowers, whether it be real flower, whether it be virtual flowers. We don't have to wait until they pass to recognize them. And I obviously, at this point, want to say thanks to my mom that I'm here today.
Definitely. You definitely say thank you to mothers. I can even tell you from my personal experience as well. Like, my mom has definitely been one of the big driving forces to actually where I am as well. Yeah, so I can definitely agree to that.
Yeah.
So to actually continue, so like, as you were fulfilling your career in the kitchen, I would say like, what has been the biggest challenges that you have actually came to face as you were actually working up to where you are?
Well, I think the biggest challenge, I must say that the concept that Caribbean cuisine can be more than Caribbean food can be more than Caribbean cuisine.
Oh, just before I start, let me just stop right there. So when we come back, we'll actually learn a bit more about these challenges that are actually coming up. So stay tuned for more with Chef Live. All right. Welcome back to Icons. So where we left off, we were actually speaking with Chef Orlando Satchel, talking about his struggles or his challenges that actually came through with working in the kitchen. So, as you were saying before we actually went on break.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. You say challenges. It's been trying to, you know, I've been in for a long time now. When I'm so happy to see the evolution of the Caribbean cuisine. You know, when I was growing up, you know, there was no one doing Caribbean cuisine. I say, I remember a lady once. Her name was Rusty Lee. She was in Birmingham, England, and she had a nice restaurant. She's written a few books now. I don't say she was an inspiration, but she was, for me, she was very, very good. But unfortunately, you know, there was the way she communicated with the laughter was a little bit for me, you know. But I would tell you that the challenge was to see our Caribbean food in a different way. You know, when I used to do events in the UK, I was always trying to do creative ideas with the food, like stuff the chicken with callaloo inside and make jerk sauce, or make, you know, pumpkin and turmeric soup. And people were like, well, my mother could do that. And I was saying like, well, I'm not your mother. You know what I'm saying? What I was trying to do is to let them transfer the food to the cuisine. Food is what you eat because you're hungry. You know, I'm hungry, I want to eat some food, and I know my rice and peas, I know my chicken. But cuisine is an experience you share. So if you can define your cuisine in a more sharing position and allow people to experience that flavors that you're familiar with as a West Indian, as a Caribbean, but from a presentation level, it raises the level of presentation and the creativity as well. So I think, you know, the days I used to go to events with my friends, and we used to go to these nice posh hotels, and then we go to the posh hotels, and then when I turned up, and then of course I was part of the meeting, they go, oh chef, what's it like? Because I was ordering chicken wings in my bag. I was always working with chicken wings or wings, always something in my bag. So we go to these nice 5-star hotels, we sit there, I would order wine, and when we leave, you see all the chicken bones on the plate. And then we say, well, they didn't order chicken bones. You know, these are things that we used to also bring ribs, you know. And so whenever I go to meet my friends, I used to do these ribs in them, you know, cook up my ribs with some rum and some guava, and wrap them up in small pieces, and you know, and fritters. So these are me going to events, you know, especially in London hotels. But I would say to you that it's getting people on board the cuisine journey, the Caribbean cuisine journey, which is really, it's taken a long time. I'm so appreciative now. Here I am in my past 60s now, starting to see the cuisine get that recognition. Still a long way away from it, but you know, by God's grace.
So I know in the times of actually doing that, trying to highlight Caribbean cuisine, I'm sure there were like some times like you were definitely knocked down in terms of like definitely I'm saying like, oh, they want to be a part of this, or they don't understand why you're promoting this. So like, how were you able to actually keep your head above the water until you actually made Caribbean cuisine more recognizable?
Well, one of the things that I always say to people that first rule of kitchen, and this is over the years, I say, try not to cook in a bad mood. Your mood will dictate how you deliver the experience. But it's very difficult sometimes, because clearly, as a young black boy, which I was at the time, there were times where I've been in the kitchens where the slurs were quite challenging. I was maybe one of only black person there sometimes in the kitchen, and the idea of coming from Caribbean or West Indian parentage, we always wash our meat. And then I see people don't wash the meat. I'm like, what the hell? You know what I mean? You gotta wash the meat, man. You gotta wash the meat. And then I get in trouble. I say, I'm in trouble. No, this is how we do things here. So I guess I got myself a few times in trouble. I remember one example of when I was a young chef in Birmingham, where I once said I got abused, but a chef slapped me, and I had to slap him back. And I said that was, I was 16, maybe 17. Maybe I was probably being cheeky, as I usually am sometimes, but it didn't give the person the right to put it down on me. So when he did it, and I slapped him back, this guy could took me apart, but I think he was more surprised that this guy reached up from. And that was a piece of sword, but you know, at the end of the day, the industry doesn't dictate that anymore. And I think none of us are, when you go to cook or whatever jobs we do, We're there to do it. We're not there to be abused. The industry, though, globally, was managed by a lot of military fellas. So that they came with this kind of toughness that, this is my way or the highway, the kind of way. And then being a young black boy who is there now, had to be kind of be directed and of course being of West Indian parentage, not very one to take orders very well. So I think there is a little, the local monkey charge and the local so forth and that kind of thing. But I think I have watched many chefs build themselves. I myself have stuck with it. I know a lot of chefs will not stuck with it. Black boy, but mainly young black boys, they don't need that stuff, and he didn't see himself beyond that. I always saw myself beyond chopping onions. I always saw myself as maybe an executive chef one day. That's what I saw myself. I did not always see myself as a guy being in the kitchen, chopping onions all day, making a sauce all day. There has to be more to that.
Okay. All right. Well, I would say definitely that is one thing I would definitely commend about you, that you always like stick to what you know, even though it definitely does seem hard, always just stick to what you know. But going through everything, was there anything that you were looking back would say, oh, I should have done maybe this thing differently, or maybe attack this thing at a different angle? Did you have any regrets going through that thing?
Well, I think with time, if you spend time regretting, you not spend time learning. So what I would say to everybody before, the valuation of learning is that when you go to college, you get a degree, but you don't get your money back. So
that's true. That's
so
true.
your money is in your learning. So if you can manage to take from whatever journey that you've been on as a learning experience, take life, what you pass through as the school of life, you have to go through to learn it. So do I say regrets? Yeah, I mean, personal regrets, personal life, maybe I say look at regrets there. But from a career point of view, from a food point of view, I don't know if I would be the same person if I taken heavily on the way I should have taken it on. I remember going to many kitchens and trying to promote Caribbean cooking, and the chefs would laugh at me and say, what's this calorie stuff? And I remember doing a soup one day. I said, I need to have real Caribbean pumpkin, and they bought Halloween pumpkin. I'm sorry, I need real pumpkin. Oh no, they won't know, but I do know. You know what I'm saying? Right? And then they said, I need calories, and they gave me spinach. He goes, oh no, I know calories, and we could get it. So there has to be a commitment to what you believe in, a commitment to your cuisine, to whatever you do. You can't let people water down your vision of what you're trying to do. So I think I've got to be few in the cuisine. I've had many opportunities because I've tried to talk my way into things sometimes. I find myself in solution not because I came for an interview, but because I took my way into it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But no, I think from a restaurant and food point of view, the journey has been tough. I think I could have done more studies, maybe so. But I think at this point in my life right now, I am where I am in terms of cooking skill and understanding the local as well.
Well, we're actually going to take another short break, but when we come back, we are actually going to be learning the all-important question: how did you gain the title of Godfather of the Caribbean Kitchen? I know a lot of us will actually want to know about that, so stay tuned as we learn more. Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So now, the all-important question. So how did you gain that title, Godfather of the Caribbean Kitchen? Because I know that is a very bold statement. So.
Well, let's be honest, guys. We have now been in studio for a while. My own independent restaurant for the last 12 years, Orlando's. I have a friend from somebody I know from the New York Times. Ed is a New York Times, and I've known Ed for a long time. I think Ed was one of my guests in New York when I was a guest chef in New York, and so he knows my cuisine and he's been on a few times. And he wrote an article about me And he's one of the phrase, Godfather of the Caribbean cuisine. So I have to tell you, you know, as a chef, my mission is simple. The best cuisine in the Caribbean should be Caribbean. There's no doubt about it. So what am I going to do? Every time I have an opportunity to shout about the Caribbean cuisine, I'm going to shout about it. We tend to come to the Caribbean and eat the best of New York, the best of French. Where is the best of the Caribbean? So I guess my New York friend from the time said, hey, you know, you've been doing this for a little while, you need to give you some exposure. So I'm running with it, yeah? But I like to think that I'm more than just a godfather. I like to think that I am somebody who is trying to elevate young people, make sure Caribbean cuisine becomes the #1 cuisine in St. Lucia, in the Caribbean. And then everybody who comes to the Caribbean or comes to St. Lucia takes the flavor of the Caribbean cuisine. I can't be the best of Italian. I mean, I can cook Italian cuisine, but I'm a Caribbean guy who loves Caribbean cuisine in the Caribbean. Makes no sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. So, in regards to actually capturing the full Caribbean cuisine, what is your ideal in terms of capturing the attention of like the locals that live here?
Well, the thing about it, I think what we need to do is a couple of things. As chefs and cooks, we need to be involved in the farmers. We need to be involved with the fishermen. I must say that over the years that I've been in St. Lucia, I've always connected with the farmers and fishermen. I've always connected with the food vendors. So over the years now, every year we invite the food vendors to my restaurant, complimentary lunch. So it's about usually about 25, 30. I invite who turns up. But the whole idea is for them to see what I do with the ingredients, you know. I also think, just for you guys listening, I think the 13th of December should be National Vendors Day, Food Vendors Day. You know, that I think that holiday goes to waste. So wouldn't it be great that we as Solution recognize that day as a date to give back to vendors, invite vendors to your restaurant, invite them to the hotel, give your vendor a drink when you pass by, recognize your vendor, because your vendors are the backbone of society. You know, I remember years ago I mentioned a bread basket, okay, but I'm thinking about the vendors. Our vendors have been there, and we all, I mean, if us pass a vendor and we see them there today, and they come back and they're not there because they're sick, they're not there, whatever, and they're, where is so and so? She just said a planting. We don't have to. And again, I mean, our vendors, we see them all in there, sitting there. We see them dressed up, you know, the nice air, go to church. So this is once a year. They dress up, they come to my restaurant, and we really take them everything complimentary, no charge, you know. So those are where I see my passion really.
Okay. That's definitely a good initiative, especially to give back to the vendors. Because as you said, they are definitely the backbone, because if we don't take care of our vendors, how are we going to get the supplies for the restaurants, for the hotels?
Yeah.
How are you going to get it? So Chef Orlando, so now that we're coming to a close on this, so what is the future plans for you, especially your restaurant, and the wider push for Caribbean cuisine?
Well, let's just say, okay, as a chef, people know my restaurant. We're a very small independent restaurant. Menu, so every day we cook. Or every day I go to the market, I find an ingredient, and I produce a 5-course tasting menu. There's some plans as an individual, as a native of St. Lucia now. They give me a passport. I would like to see more things done in St. Lucia. We have built our economy and tourism, which is a little concerning to me, because it means we rely on somebody else to feed us. I mean, I'm not saying, you know, yes, we're tourism, but we shouldn't be so much demand. So we got to find ways to be more agricultural, do other areas that we don't rely so much on persons to come to us. We can be more self-efficient. I also think one of my biggest passions is that I live in Suffolk. We have a sulfur spring, and we need to get people more mindful of the value of the sulfur spring. And what I mean by that, you can have a location called the Sulfur Springs, but you have no accessibility, disability in Sulfur Spring. That's my private little passion. I know they're working on it, but it's taking too long. You cannot say you come to rejuvenate, and yet people who need to rejuvenate cannot access it. There's no access to the down steps, there's no access to the pond. So how do you then tell somebody to come and rejuvenate who definitely needs it and you can't access it? So this is my local battleship I'm fighting out. And I think that comes down to sometimes people on commitments, on committees. I don't know if you ever noticed the building by Computer World, the building which is actually public health building. You have not accessibility to go upstairs if you're in a wheelchair. There's accessibility. So you need people on your committees who can see all access to come in, and because any one of us could be a disability of any sort. Disability doesn't count to people who are born or challenged. Anyone could trip and fall and a situation which limited accessibility. So those are some of my personal challenges. As a business owner, I'm so happy to see more restaurants in Sufa. People might say, oh, Chef Orlando, they're challenging you. No, my name's Orlando, I don't have to worry about my name. What I have to worry about is how do we, as a community, become better accessibility for people to come in? How do we get more business down there? How do we become more quality business as well? You see? And it's not about me as Chef Orlando. I live in the community so that we as Sufans taking more responsibility. Remember, when you are around the world, doesn't matter where you are in the world, as soon as you see St. Lucia, you see our pitons. That is Sufa. So really, we're the face, that Sufa town is the face of St. Lucia. And so I would like to think, while people may recognize Orlando as the Godfather, or last year the Restaurant of the World Culinary Awards, which is in Dubai, all these awards have no value if we're not unified in our collective thoughts. And you need to look at that in a business point of view. So hopefully, from the position with your support, we can move solution in a direction. And this last note, coming to independence. I use the word share the love a lot. Share the love. And I'm going to look at share the love is about we the people. It's not physical, it's about good spirits, it's about good energy. How do I respect you to respect me? Okay? Share the love is a time, especially the global world is going through what it's going through, the challenges right now, with all the Americans and going on for challenge. We don't have to wait for a situation before we react. We need to be proactive. So if we look at people having tariffs around the world, what are we going to do in St. Lucia? Because the planes don't fly, because the gas is too expensive. If people, the Caribbean, come to the Caribbean is a luxury. First thing people cut back on is luxuries, if they can't afford to spend something. So if less people come to St. Lucia or the Caribbean because they can't afford to buy bread or egg or whatever, what do that's an expense to us. So St. Lucia needs to be more, be prepared to share the love amongst each other. Our young youth need to look at each other and know the word economic doesn't mean money, it means self-worth. Who are you economically? Are you doing yourself economic justice? So, and the last one, share the love. It means St. Lucia, STL, share the love. Just in case you wonder what it means. So every time you hear me say share the love, and what I'm saying actually is St. Lucia, STL.
Share the love.
So on that note, I thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, well, Chef Orlando, thank you so much again for joining us today.
And thank you so much. I want to say a big shout out to my staff, because sometimes people see Chef Orlando, it's not about me. My name is Orlando, but the restaurant is called Orlando's, and we are the team of Orlando's. So a big shout out to my restaurant staff, and a big shout out to my dear lady, Claudia Sharman, because she'll never forget. But of course, I want to thank the public as well for supporting Orlando's over the last 12 years. I look forward to your continued support, and of course, keep sharing the love with respect.
All right, guys, so don't forget as well to please also take a look and check out Chef Orlando's in Sufa. Is there some specific space where we can actually find the restaurant?
You can find, I like to call Orlando the best kept secret. People need to know where to find me, but of course you go on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads and Blue Sky. I've found all these things now, you know what I'm saying? So you can definitely find Orlando's there. And sometimes you see my door closed. not, we'll let you in.
All right. So all the information on Chef Orlando's will be posted here on screen. So make sure you do check it out. And also, if you have time, definitely make a trip to Soufriere. Check out Chef Orlando's. And thank you so much again for tuning in for this episode of St. Lucian Icons. And when we show you next week, and we do come back next week, we'll be meeting with another guest to learn more about their story and how they became a Lucian icon. Thank you so much. I'm Josiah Pise. We'll see you next time. It's a wrap.
Alright. Okay, so when you're ready, you actually just head out of the, out of the